I hope this is live on the event page that you're trying to attend. It finally says it's live. I'm sorry that we're starting late. I've been trying to get it going, uh, but I can't really tell if people are here. It does say live, so I'm just going to get going with this, and hopefully in a moment there will be some comments from people letting me know that you're actually watching. Because I can't even pull up comments right now, so... Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully you're still here. I'm Kathy Marshack, Dr. Kathy Marshack, and today I'm talking about kind of announcing what we're going to be doing in October with our meetup group. The title of today's live is Breaking Through the Power Struggles of Transactional People, because that's kind of a summary of what we're going to be talking about in October. So I like to use the Facebook Lives to bring you up to date on these things that are happening, and I'm going to sort of chatter here for a minute until people do join us. So it looks like there's somebody there. Can you let me know if you can actually hear me and see me? It took me a while to get this, get the live going. So just post a quick little comment for me, and so I know that you're actually here. What we're going to do today is, like I said, I'm going to announce what we're doing on our meetup group, but let me explain a little bit about the meetup group. 12 years ago, I started a support group. It's now an international group for people who are living with an adult with high-functioning autism. We used to call it Asperger's syndrome. It's called autism spectrum disorder, high-functioning autism. There's lots of different names for it. And today we're going to be talking about how to kind of break through some of the power struggles that happen with our high-functioning autistic loved one. And in the audience, I know that there are people that are on the spectrum as well as neurotypicals, but the group that I support at Meetup is for the neurotypical spouse, partner, parent, good friend, maybe even a neighbor or a coworker, and you're trying to learn how to handle, this lifestyle. The meetup group, by the way, is Asperger's syndrome and relationships, partners, family, adults on the autism spectrum. You can go to Meetup, the Portland area, and you'll find our group. But we are international because we meet on Zoom. You can also go to my website, asd-ntrelationships.com, and learn more about the group. This is a pretty important topic, and we have had a lot of people sign up to hear about it. So I'm hoping that pretty soon people will be here so that I can actually start the talk about breaking through the power struggles of transactional people. Most people don't know what that means exactly, so I'm going to walk you through what it is. First, I want you to tell you about how the group runs. As a private member of the group, nobody can just join off the street. You need to apply to be part of this group, and because I want to make sure you're somebody who's actually in a relationship with someone on the spectrum. And the idea is that we want to have complete privacy so that you can talk freely with other people that are living a similar lifestyle. Now, right now, I appear to be talking entirely to myself. I have no idea if anybody's watching. Hopefully, people will join in very quickly. If not, you can also listen to this or watch this Facebook Live again, because I am recording, and I'll try to answer questions afterward if you aren't able to actually join in the call today. So the thing is that the conferences kind of come in different parts. I offer video conferences and podcasts, teleconferences. I record the podcasts so that you can listen to those again if you are a private member. If you're a private member, you can attend the video conferences, and that's a small group of people that get together and talk about the subject. I don't record those because I want to make sure everybody has privacy. So let me run through what the groups, the conferences are, and then hopefully you'll be able to join us at another time. So the first video conference of October is on the 11th, the 12th, and the 14th. I'll be gone next week, so I'm not doing anything next week. But that first, I offer the video conference 3 times because it's not recorded, so you can attend it the second or third time if you missed the first one. And I've called it the Me Too Stress Effects of ASD. It's not about the actual Me Too movement, but what happens for people that are neurotypical is that as soon as we begin to realize that we're in a relationship with someone who thinks transactionally, it's really helpful to meet other people and talk to them about what's going on in your life. And so I think it's like this waking up and realizing that me too, I'm also in a relationship like this, and I want to talk to other people who struggle with the same kind of things that I'm struggling with. So Me Too stress means that we've sort of been, us neurotypicals have been living sort of an invisible life, really. Nobody really understands what's going on at home when there's the stress of relating to someone with high-functioning autism. It doesn't mean that your high-functioning autistic loved one isn't quite capable out there in the world and does a great job and works hard and maybe is a good parent and helps around the house and all those kind of things. But there's other kinds of stresses that we deal with because of this transactional style to communicating. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I'd like to make sure there are a few more people participating in the call before we move on. The next conference in October under this topic of transactional people is everything you ever wanted to know about neurodivergent relationships. I tend to use the term neurodivergent to refer to that there's a neurotypical and then there's a neurodiverse person in the relationship, and so the relationship diverges. It's neurodivergent. And I think this is really important. Everything you ever wanted to know about ND relationships in that teleconference. It's not like there is everything, but the bottom line is that the neurotypical is interactionally communicating, and your neurodiverse or autistic a loved one is a transactional communicator. And so in Everything You Ever Wanted to Know, it's actually the title of my little ebook where I summarize some basic tips for how to live in these kind of relationships. If you want to get the ebook, by the way, it's on Amazon. Just Google my name, Kathy Marshack, and you'll find it there. After this one-time teleconference, I always record it, and if you're a paid member of the meetup group, you can access all the teleconferences at any time. And then after the teleconference, we'll go back to video conferences again, October 19th, 20th, and 21st. The topic is No More Power Struggles. So the purpose of that conference, of course, is to talk about how to get past the power struggles that happen when you're using these two very different styles of communicating. Remember that people on the spectrum do not process information the same way that we do. They process it in multiple different ways, but they do not use an interactional or empathic approach to communicate with you. They're not asking themselves, how do I need to say this so that Dr. Marshack understands me? They just say what's on their mind, and that's the end of it. And that doesn't always work for us. So in order to break through those power struggles, we have to be able to step out of the transactional style that they keep pulling us into. Now, so far, I'm not getting any comments. I hope people are hearing this. Don't worry, if you miss it, you can post comments on the recording and I will respond. Or you can send them to me directly through Messenger, or go to the meetup site and communicate that way. I'm going to check real quickly to see if we have any messages over here. Okay, I don't see that just yet. Okay, so back to the video. Then the last video conference of the month of October, October 26th, 27th, and 28th, why do we feel so misunderstood? This is an interesting one, and I'm going to get back to these topics in just a minute. I'm just announcing the actual conferences that are coming up for the month. Why do we feel so misunderstood? Well, the reason is that both people feel misunderstood, by the way, both people on the spectrum as well as neurotypicals. But I'll start with neurotypicals because that's our support group. We feel misunderstood because we're continuing to wait for our HFA loved one to recognize us when what they're doing is talking about the subject or the topic. They're not necessarily recognizing us, they're listening for words that make sense to them. So if we keep waiting for them to recognize us, to notice that we're speaking as opposed to what we're saying, that may never happen. Now they feel misunderstood for different reasons. People on the spectrum feel misunderstood because their intentions are good. They're trying to speak concisely and precisely. And we're waiting for them to recognize us, not what we're saying. So this gets us back to the transactional versus interactional stuff. What seems to be going on in this regard is that the mistakes are not intentional, but it is the way the person is wired. So the transactional approach tends to shut the communication down. Transactional people are looking for an answer. They're looking for direction. They're waiting for you to finish your sentence, and then they'll tell you what they think. They often will ask you lots of questions that neurotypicals don't think is relevant because we're not talking about that stuff. They want to know, when you say, well, Dr. Marshack was wearing a pink sweater, they'll say, well, what shade of pink? We don't care about that. So they pick up the wrong pieces of information for an interactional person and begin asking questions that are purely transactional. They just want an answer. If you don't give them the answer, then they feel misunderstood. Okay? The interactional person, on the other hand, continues to reach out and try to smile, nod their head, acknowledge the person who's talking, and as linguists put it, we're interweaving an interaction. For neurotypicals, conversation is just about connecting. It's not necessarily about the subject just yet. It's about connecting. So one of the problems I have with a Facebook Live is I can't see people. I don't know if you're there. I don't know who's there. I don't see any comments on the side. So I don't know who to respond to or how to redirect my conversation. And I know that a number of people have signed up for this live. I know it's recording right now, and yet I can't tell if anybody's here. That's kind of hard for me. For the transactional person, it might be easier. They'll just give their talk, finish it up, click stop recording, and be done. But for me, I keep looking for, is there any feedback? Are there comments coming from people? Is there anybody noticing anything that I've said that they'd like to know more about? So breaking through the power struggles, though, that's what we're going to be talking about in October. How to get through those power struggles between interactional people who keep waiting for someone to say, hi, I'm here, I'm with you, and the transactional person who's saying, can you just get to the point? How do you do this? Okay, I know I'm going to give you a little couple of basics here. Transactional people tend to control the communication, and that's what's really tough. Transactional people will keep bringing it back to what's the point? Answer my question. If you can't explain it to me, then I'm moving on. Sometimes they will get up and walk out of the room and you're not finished talking, and you haven't made your point yet because you keep waiting for them to show some interest in you. So transactional people will continually sort of shut down the conversation and then not understand why we're hurt or angry. And we get angry with that approach, don't we? We get angry with someone who dismisses us because we haven't explained it to their satisfaction. We don't really worry about that. What we're trying to do is just connect. So, for example, recently, one of my autistic clients complained, or he didn't complain, his girlfriend complained that she didn't want to have him over for the evening because she didn't feel like sparring with him. She used that word, I don't feel like sparring with you. So the neurotypical was viewing that transactional approach as sparring. He would throw something out, it was just a comment or a quip, and then he'd stop. And either she had to quip back, or she had to answer the question appropriately, or there was no communicating. And for the neurotypical, that's tiring, it's upsetting. I mean, sometimes you're in the mood to quip, sometimes you want to spar. On the other hand, my high-functioning autistic person didn't even realize that he was sparring. He would never have described it like that. He would have described it as joking or being casual or being, just watching or, watching TV or, whatever. And so this is really important distinction, because if it feels as if you're being sparred with, you don't want to continue the communication, maybe not even continue the relationship. If, on the other hand, you're just trying to let the other person know that you like them by throwing a little quip, and it's taken as if you're attacking, that doesn't feel good either. So transactional people are often accused of being uncaring, flat, unemotional, attacking, controlling, thoughtless. And neurotypicals are often accused of becoming too emotional, becoming out of control. That's the power struggle stuff. When you get so angry that the other person isn't using your style, it appears out of control. It appears that you're engaged in a power struggle. So, whenever the this is to the neurotypicals, whenever the transactional stuff starts, which it starts almost immediately with your ASD loved one, you need to say, wait, I don't want to answer questions right now. Just let me talk for a minute. Let me get my bearings. Let me get sort of spread out what it is I'm trying to say to you, and then I will tell you what the bottom line is. Don't ask me any more questions. You can stop them that way, and they generally will listen. For the ASD person, how you stay out of the power struggle is it's really important to apologize whenever your NT gets hurt by your style, because they'll get hurt automatically. So I hate to say this, but you're just going to have to say something like, I'm so sorry, you know me, I tend to get right to the point, I need to give you more time. It's important that you preface what you're saying, and this is hard for people on the spectrum to do. They're always telling me that they're doing that, and they're not. Because what they're really saying is something like, I'm sorry, could you just get to the point? And it's not the same as setting it up and offering the other person the opportunity to converse. So it takes a while to learn how to translate into each other's language. And here's another thing about this. I really do think that empathy explains everything. It doesn't mean that kindness or thoughtfulness or caring or compassion can't happen on both sides. But empathy is the ability to actually carry on an interactive conversation. With empathy, you're paying attention to what the other person is saying and doing and feeling, and you're noticing that. You're noticing what's going on with them, and you make them feel good to be in the conversation with you. If you have empathy, you can do that. If you're a transactional person, you cannot do that. You have a hard time making the other person feel comfortable. You just keep trying to give them the facts. And often the argument becomes, for the transactional person or the person on the spectrum, the argument is, if you just would listen to me, if I just explain this enough to you, then you'll finally accept it and agree with me, and then we can be done. And of course, that's not done. That's never done. Just agreeing with somebody doesn't mean we've had a meaningful, kind conversation. So, I have to apologize. I don't know if you're leaving me comments. They're not showing on my page at all. I don't know if anybody's listening or not. I know that we're recording, so I'm a little stumped as to what to do here. But I'm going to leave a comment for you just in case. If I missed your comments today, please leave me a note and I will respond. There we go. So at least I can leave a comment. That's about all I have to say today. Hopefully you can attend one of the events. If you are a member, it's easy. You just go and register, and for the video calls, you'll be automatically given a Zoom link as soon as you register. For the teleconference, there's instructions as to what phone number to call in, and you can call in from any part of the world. You don't have to be in the U.S. Free conference call. Ph.D is the service I use, and they give phone numbers around the world for people to use. So, at any rate, hopefully you can join us come October. All you have to do is join the group first. You can't join these events without being a member of the group. You get to be a member for 30 days free to try it out, see if it works for you. And I know that you're going to meet other people so that you have to know that you're not the only one who is befuddled by these relationships. So take care, everybody. I'm so sorry I can't see your comments, but I will respond later. Take care.